Hi, I was invited to a firm here in Stockholm called Regent to speak a bit about MDriven. So I did, and the guy presenting there, Thomas Javing, had a really cool introduction to start the session off. He had an InstantPoll app where he just started a poll like this on the projector, and everyone in the audience took up their phones and started the poll with this QR code. And what happened then was that on everyone's mobile, a small form came up, something like this. And of course, Thomas had on the projector another form that looked like, pull this one out, looks something like this, like the live view of the poll. And as people answered, the projector screen was updated instantly. And I thought that was really cool. There were multiple choice questions like this. And as everyone had answered, Thomas just pressed the next question. And then there were more like free text questions as well, favorite with MDriven. So if I were to write cool, it would show up in it's there actually. No, it's behind this one. Cool. In this word cloud. And the more that said the same thing, the bigger that word became instantly. So that was a really good and interactive way to start off a session, and I was really impressed by how it worked. So extremely happy. Everyone answered these simple questions, and if I spell it wrong, it wouldn't add to the word, it would just like this. And let's see, I had another question. Hungry for, I want a duck, because no one else has it. So 7.7%. So anyways, I thought it was a really cool way to get the audience involved, and everyone has a phone in their pocket, so it really got everyone engaged. So a great tip for anyone starting up off sessions. But anyway, as I was impressed and as I was there to talk about MDriven, which I did, I thought, hey, that's just a web app and we can do that with MDriven, can't we? Why can't I do that? So maybe someday I will do it live just on the session after seeing something like that, but now it took me a couple of hours to model the things needed. And it's not much, of course, never is with MDriven. It's tight and compact, but still it takes thought and trial and error. So we have the poll and we have questions that we want to pose, and we have an attribute here to state if it should be a multiple choice or not. And if it is a multiple choice, it should have a list of possible answers. And if it isn't a multiple choice, it still needs the textual answer, and that will go here. And every user that participates in the poll gets an answer object for this question. And of course, if the user chooses one of the multiple choice answers, this link will get set. And of course, Thomas controls the poll and decides which questions that is supposed to be the current the current question, this one. And this derived association is kept in memory per active user to point out their current answer if it's a multiple choice. So I also have the set xing thing that I've written about in articles before to help me render the QR code. So that's actually all the information needed to create the InstantPoll app like this. And I also did some views for this. Of course, the index view, it's doesn't do anything. It's just start the poll, and that's backed by an action. Like that. And I also have the live view that has a couple of view overrides. So this thing and also the other thing, this word cloud, are view overrides. But view overrides still needs data. So this one, that's the override of this possible answers, goes to a nesting with some details on it. Answer, alternative, and percentage. So this one is the bars, and the one under here, the word cloud, points to, this one is a bit more interesting because the expression needs a group by. It uses a group by to group on text answer, and it replaces all the spaces, etc., and make it lower to make it more likely that two people enters the same thing. So if we group everything on the text answer, we get a tuple back that has the text as part one and has a list of all the instances that builds up this. So we could do a weight, and this data controls how the word cloud should be rendered. Yeah, and also the poll view for people to actually participate. Looks like this. Not much. It's the name of the poll, it's the question text, and possibly your answer if this was if it wasn't a multiple choice, not multiple choice, then it's visible, otherwise it's hidden. And the other way around on this one, if it is a multiple choice, this one is shown. And what is this then? Well, it's the possible answers. And the possible answers has a checkbox that is backed by this action that creates the answer accordingly to make it picked. So that's pretty neat. Not much needed to do this, and of course you could do this with any technology for the web. That's not my point. My point is that in this talk that it's like anything with information, it's really easy to do with MDriven. And if you have done it with MDriven, your definition is really compact, and you can focus on the value of the application rather than just coding. Of course, one important UI for a thing like this is the administration. How do I get in new questions, and how do I decide what they should be? And made a UI for that as well. Show admin setup. Okay, it wants me to save that one. I can do that. And here it's easy to create a new poll. Well, rather I should add a new poll. And once I have done that, I can add questions. And if this is a multiple choice question, I'm able to create the answer alternatives and just fill things in. So it's and this UI, let's look at the view model for that then. Setup poll. It's a bit more, but not much. It's the polls and some actions for that, and it also is the questions and the possible answers, and there's some pick lists to manage the thing like the current question. So, and here I see a bug because this was a new poll. Let's see the new poll, and I could make a choice of a current question that is from this poll, and that shouldn't be possible. So let's look at this UI. Why is that wrong? Well, it's obvious here. It just says questions all instances when it should only take the questions from this poll. Let's show it in the model. So it takes all questions, not only these questions. So let's fix that. And this is how it works with MDriven, that it's so quick to do things, and I did in this model in less than 2 hours, more or less. And then I thought I have worked back and forth with the view models, and as soon as I tested, I noticed that I haven't my thoughts hasn't been clear enough, so I need to refine them. And of course that's a good thing, because it helps me to think what's needed for this kind of service. So instead of doing question all instances, and I'm in the context of one poll, so I can follow the role to the questions instead. That should be enough. At least I think so, without trying. I will save that one, and since I'm running this in a local environment, I just refresh this. And now I can only choose by the questions here. If I name this one 1, 2, and 3, this should show up here. And I haven't left that one, so like that, 1, 2, 3, yeah. And these only has the correct ones here. Yeah, so not gonna talk a lot about this, just wanted to show you another example. I will upload this on the portal as a choosable example. Okay, thank you.